So these are my top tips to playing in very challenging conditions whilst on the golf course. I'm going to put myself all over the place in some really tough places. I'm going to show you how to get out of them. Right, I have found a very difficult position here. I'm in some deep rough, and I think priority for me is just getting back onto play. Like, I don't want to get greedy on this shot. I just need to make sure I'm in a safe position to hit the green on my next one. So I am going to make a couple of setup changes because I am in some deep rough. It's going to be difficult. You can't even see the ball, but it is buried. I've got to make sure that I get as much contact early doors onto that golf ball. I don't want to hit behind in this grass. It's just going to snag the golf club up. It's going to twist the face, and it's going to cause me a lot of problems. So a couple of really important setup changes to start with. I want to make sure that the ball is really far back in my stance. I've got a nice wide stable base, and I really want to make sure my weight, my chest, everything is over onto this left side. My left hand, my hands are ahead, and I'm really trying to feel like I've got a nice early steep kind of swing. I want to pick the club up quickly, and I really want to try and slam this thing down into the ground, hitting the golf ball first. I'm not going to see a big follow through. I just almost want to try and stab this thing out, get it back onto the fairway, so I've got a good opportunity for another one. So let's try and hit one. Ball back in stance, weight on the left, and let's just pop it out. So I'm on a stunning hole, but unfortunately I've hit it just a little bit left, and I found probably the worst lie possible. It's on a bit of mud, and I just want to show you two different shots that you can play from here if you want to hit the low one off, but also if you need to get it high and hit it over something. But rule of thumb, if you've got nothing to go over, don't try and go over it. Get it low, get it running nice and quickly. So just on this little chip, all I want to make sure with a setup change is just make sure my feet are nice and narrow, my weight is on the left side, and I just want to make sure my handle is just ahead. I actually don't want to have too much wrist on this shot. I want to make sure it's a little bit like a putting stroke, much more of a rocking kind of motion, and I just want to make sure I'm really trying to just nip the ball off the surface. So I don't need a lot of loft. I'm not trying to get underneath it. I just want to make a good contact with it. So get my feet nice and close, stand up nice and tall, and just really feel like it's a nice rock. There we go, off the surface, get it running nice and quickly. But if I want it to go high, now this is of course slightly more difficult, and only really take this shot on if you need to. If you can get it low, great, but if you have to go over a bunker, or you have to go over something, then we do need to change it slightly. And all I'm going to do is use a bit more of a lofted club, and I like to stand really tall to it. I like to get the toe nice and low, so pick my hands up, open the face slightly, and I just want to feel like I'm just cutting across it, so a bit more of an out to in swing, just to feel like I can glide the ball up the club face and get it airborne. So nice and close, have a good hands just ahead, and I feel out to in swing. So these are the setup changes that I like to do for a low spinning shot when you need to keep the ball low out of the wind, but you still want it to stop really quickly. And it's all based on what your wrist angles do and what they are like at address. So what I want to do, and I'm just using an alignment stick here, is just place it straight down the grip like so, and actually just do a few rehearsal swings where you're getting used to this feeling that the stick is not going to hit you. I don't want this early release where you get hit on the side. I really want you to feel that you're turning your body and you're not getting whipped with this stick. So hands are going to be ahead just to really feel like you're taking loft off the club. I've got a really lofted club here, and I'm just removing that loft slightly by getting my hands forward. So a few nice rehearsal swings first with a stick, just getting used to that nice kind of takeaway, nice follow through that's all more body related than actual wrist. And then actually to hit a shot, if I just move it down, hands ahead, nice wide stance, not a lot of wrist, just more body turning back and through, and really don't try and get any wrist in this at all. So let's hit a shot, hands ahead, and go. So we don't always get those nice fluffy nice soft sand. Sometimes after it's rained, we get that really hard, compact, wet sand. And there needs to be a couple of good setup changes that have to happen to play this shot. We're not going to try and expose the bounce too much. I don't want to take too much sand before the ball, but I do need to get this ball up quickly, especially from a deepish bunker like this. So I'm still going to use my 58 or a 60. You can use a sand wedge if it's not too high, but the real key is in the setup. And the setup changes for me are just ball back in stance a little bit. I want a nice wide stance, and I really want to feel like my weight is in that left side, and I don't really want to feel a weight shift. I want to try and keep it onto this left side the whole way through. And what that really helps is just get this nice deep angle of attack. So I'm really going to try and feel like I'm picking the club up, and I want to make sure it's not a big follow through. I want to make sure I'm going into the sand past the ball. So the sand is going to really decelerate the club. So what I want to make sure is I'm accelerating past into the sand. So it's not a big follow through, but I want this club to go deep after the ball. So let's get a nice wide stance, weight on the left hand side, and let's hit one out. So I found the semi-rough and I really want to have a go at the green. But in order to do that, I just want to make sure the lie is absolutely perfect for me to do that first of all. So I need the good green light to do that. If the ball is sat down, that for me is a red light. Don't try and go for the green, just take a wedge, get it back onto play and have a go for the green from there. But this for me is a green light, so I can make a couple of nice setup changes to just ensure I get a good contact on the ball. So first of all, I am going to grip down the club ever so slightly. I'm going to widen my stance and I'm going to have my weight a little bit more on the left side, just so I can feel and get a steeper angle of attack onto the back of the ball. The club is going to potentially could twist as it hits the grass, so I'm just going to open it a little bit just to allow for that, just in case there is a little bit of grass sort of snag on the club. But really it's just the same swing, just slightly wider stance, weight on the left side, slightly open club face, and let's see if we can hit the green. So here is a really tough par 3, and I want to play a little low stinging type shot that's just going to find the green when I'm facing these tough conditions. Now there is a couple of things I need to do setup wise just to ensure I don't expose too much loft on this. I really want to get my chest on top of the ball. I really want to compress it, and I want to make sure that ball is just fizzing through the air. What I don't want to do is release too early and get too much loft. That ball's just going to balloon and it's going to be harder to control. So just a couple of setup things. First of all, I'm going to put the ball position ever so slightly back in my stance. I'm going to grip down it ever so slightly just to get closer to the shaft. Just it means I've got a bit more control of the club head, and I'm going to get my hands nice and far forward. Now the feeling for me is my hands are going to stay ahead of the club head throughout the entire swing. My chest is really driving this swing. It's not hand, it's not arms, it's my chest on top that's going to produce that nice compressed stinging look. So let's hit one and see how we do. So we are putting on slow greens today. Now, there's a couple of really important changes that I want to make just to my pre-shot routine, but also to the stroke itself to ensure I've got a nice accelerated, good contact on the ball when I'm doing the shot. So what I'm going to do for the actual pre-shot routine is just step back 3 or 4 feet. Don't do it next to the ball, but actually look at the hole and make a couple of nice rehearsal swings here, staring at the hole, not at the putter itself. I want to get so used to actually seeing the hole further and getting my brain ready for a more accelerated shot. When I actually come and actually take the shot, there's a couple of setup changes I want to do. I like to play the ball a little bit further forward, and I like to make sure that the handle of the head is just ahead of my belly button. I want to get this ball moving nicely. So I am going to make sure my focus is on a good centered strike, and I want to make sure that I'm accelerating past the ball. Now, a couple of things when it comes to practice. I've set up 2 tees just behind the hole, and I want to make sure in my practice that I'm aiming for those tees. I always want to try and make sure that I'm getting past the hole. If it's short, the ball is never going in. So let's have a go. Couple of nice rehearsal swings here, getting used to it, and then I'm just going to try and hit it literally just past the hole. So let's have a go. I hope those tips help you next time you're playing golf in challenging conditions. Please like and subscribe to the Golf Monthly YouTube channel for more tips like this, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.